Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender, the me, myself, and I playthrough of the main event scenario. Game is published by GMT Games, designed by Salvatore Vasta. We're getting ready to go into the Soviet June 1944 operations phase and end of turn stuff. If it goes a little long, we may split it up into two parts, like we've done in the past. The Russians have a lot of units to do things with. My biggest thing here is how to go about the best way of getting this German unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I take the 5th Guards, if I activate him, I can go 1, 2847, 2947, that's 2. 3, 4 goes to 3046, and then 5 to 3045, and 6 to 2945. And it costs me 2 for the hex and 2 for a unit in poor weather, which comes out to a grand total of 10. And since I'm so close, I have to make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the city, 9, 10 for the unit in poor weather. So bring up the national tracks for the Russians. Again, move my map over a little bit. I'll get rid of the jumper thing, and let's zoom in so you can see a little better what I'm trying to do. Okay, so that was 2 from the Russians. So right now, that unit is +1 because it's guards, +1 because it's a tank. You know, it's an elite and a tank. And then it gets +2 because he's isolated now. See, I could add in 1 shock for another 2. If I add in 2 shocks, that'd be 4 more. An airplane would be, let's see, what would that put me up to? If I added in both shocks and an airplane, excuse me. Some liquid on my throat there. That would be like a +9. -2 would be a +7 to a 0. But I wouldn't have any way of taking it if I somehow fail. The minimum I get's an 8. He could get a 6. So there's a 1 in 36 shot that just doesn't work. If I throw in artillery, I would be +10, which means I'd have a minimum of 11, and a 6 would automatically fail. Do you take the 1 in 36 chance, or do you guarantee that you can take Kiev? You know, I think I guarantee that I take frickin' Kiev. I do not want this to be left to chance. The panzers are going to be able to get away. I mean, I could set up some kind of an assault on the 4th Panzer that would, you know, he doesn't have a retreat route, so yeah, maybe I can get a step on him if I'm lucky. But he's 3 just standing there. 2 for German and 1 for the armor. Same thing applies to the 2nd Panzer, but he does retreat route. So I don't see where this actually does me a lot of good. I might take the pot shot anyway, but I don't see a reason to save the shock army for that. I do have the guards tank, and I think I want to try and go and figure out a way to try and get to Kishinev. So I think I'm going to try and make sure that this is for sure. Okay, so I'm going to activate the 2 shock armies, the 3rd shock, and the 2nd shock. And we go to combat commitment, and the Germans are out. Their card is completely empty. I'm going to throw in my airplane, and I'm going to throw in a heavy artillery. So there you go. So when you add all this up, it should be horrible. The Germans start off at +2, but they're -2 because they're under a low supply marker. Okay? We're going to do the math for the Russians. This is to show you how massive a Russian assault could really become. They're +1. This is in poor weather, too. They're +1 for a guards, or an elite unit, and it happens to be an armor, so he gets an extra +1. I'm adding in a shock army, that's +2 in poor weather. Another shock army, that's +2 in a poor weather. The unit is isolated, that's +2. I'm throwing in heavy artillery, that's +2, and an airplane. And you see that it looks like I'm at +11. And you go, wait, you're only allowed to have 10. Well, it's 10 net. It's after all modified, after all your modifications, your plus can only be 10. I have two minuses here. I have a -1 because it's the weather, right? Hit the die instead of the minus button. So I'm at +11 right now, and then it's -1 for the weather and -1 for the city. So in the end, I'm a +9. Now what that means is at +9, even if I roll a 1, I will get a 10. And if you look on the 10, even if somehow he had a +1, all the way up to a 7 is at least a DR. Okay? So what the Germans want to do is roll a 5 or a 6 to even have a chance. And if I roll if I roll a 5, I'm automatic. So there's a possibility that he could get a DR and not be not go down, but then he would be at a -2, and I could probably try a 0 to -2 to try and get him to retreat and then kill him with the guards army that's across the river. It would be -3, but I could add in a tank, so it would be -2. Actually, a net of -1, I think, which would be a worthwhile thing to try. So we're going to go ahead and see what we roll here. The Russians roll at +9. I did do my math right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes. +9. Oh, I don't think I'm going to do it that way. Well, I already committed to it. I was thinking what I should do is I should have the 6th guard activate and throw a tanks marker on it. He would be the same as a shock unit being added in. And then I'd have the 3rd shock available. He'd still only be +2 and then -2, so he'd be at 0. So I think I'm going to modify this. Give back a point from the shock and spend 2 on the 6th guards. Nah, we'll just do it the way I had it set up. If it fails, it fails, right? I was at 44. Right, I was at 44. I spent 1, 2, 3, 4. So I should be at 40. All right, at +9, the Russians roll 4 + 9 is a 13. So only a 6 saves the Germans. 2 is not good enough. So 13, 2 of 2 is an actual DE. The Germans, I flip them for ease of myself when I'm rebuilding them. So the German infantry unit goes there. We have to go take a, whoops, what did I take? We have to go take a national will point off of the Germans because they lost a army in defense, field army in defense. This low supply can go away. And the airplane at low supply must fly away. It doesn't really matter where he flies away to because I'm just going to get rid of him. Because I can't replenish him this turn, which means he'll be at -6 sorties next turn. And then I would replace him next turn. Or, if I eliminate him in the no supply phase, he'll be back in my build queue for next turn. And when I build him back, he'll come back with 4 sorties, and I can place him wherever I need him to be. So, probably going to just eliminate him. And then this goes away, right? And what do we take it with? The 3rd shock or the 2nd shock? 3rd shock or the 2nd shock? 3rd shock or the 2nd shock? I think I'm going to take it with the 2nd shock. And the most important thing that does for the Russians is it gives them back a factory, so now they have all their original 9 factories back. Yay. Now I've got to try and figure out a way to get to Kishinev. -1 for the weather, -1 for the city, -1 for the road. So I'm at -3 if I go across the river. I really like to get Kishinev, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. Oh, I have to roll for my heavy artillery. Must roll for my heavy artillery. Where is the turn track? Turn track's there. My heavy artillery rolls off 5, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I come back with that ultra marker. Yuck. See, I could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from a heavy artillery, and then be -3. I'd be +3 to 0. And if that fails, then what do? I really can't do much of anything. So, shot in the dark with a heavy artillery, or I could go +1 to +0. Save the heavy artillery for something else. Let's look up north here. See if there's something we can do up here. This guy would be -2. I could get a shock army. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 4, 5 to attack that hex, and 3. 1, 2, and he can do it with a tanks marker. And then he can attack. He'd be there too, so I'd be +2, +4, +5, 6, -2, +6, +7, +7 to +2, -2, +5 to +2. Yeah, let's do this. We're going to activate the first shock army, and the fourth shock army, and the first guard's infantry. So that's going to be 4 more points. Takes me down to 36. Let's see if we get this off. This guy moves here. This guy goes 3, 4, 5 for the river, 6, 7 for the unit in the hex. What am I doing? 3, 4 for the river, 5, 6 for the unit in the hex in poor weather, and then 7 for the physical hex itself. And this shock army can do the same thing. He's 1, then 1 for the river, 2 for the unit in the hex is 3 more, +1 is 4. There's only 5 movement points, so we get off an assault on the 6th. I didn't have... No, I don't have partisans. I don't think this is worth the... I don't think it's worth the heavy artillery, but I do think it's worth the tanks marker. So that's what I'll commit. And I'll go ahead and throw this airplane in just for good measure, because I'm Russian and I like to do that. So that gives me the guards unit is the primary. So let's go do our math. Germans are +2 because they're German. I am +1 because I'm elite, +1 because I think I'm a tank. Then I'm adding 2 for a shock, and I'm adding 2 more for another shock. Then I'm adding 1 for an airplane. Then I have to subtract 1 for the river and 1 for the bad weather. So I am +5 to +2. That looks right. Let's call. 4 + 5 is a 9. The Germans roll. 4 + 2 is a 6. I don't think a 6 is good enough against a 9. Nope, it's a DR. Kaboom! So we push the 6 back. We'll take it with the guards unit. See if the Germans attack me back. Or what they do. Tank marker needs to go on the turn track. Hello. Do that. Half my time down. There's other things to do here, isn't there? All we're really trying to accomplish here with the Russians, other than taking Kiev, which was important, whenever you see these river lines like this, if you can, in bad weather like this, if you can push them out just 1 more hex, it gives you more flexibility to be able to do things to people. I think I'm going to activate this guy. And I'm going to have to stop here for just a minute. So I'm going to pause my timer, and I'm going to pause the game. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, I'm back. As I stated, I was going to activate the 3rd Infantry here, which I believe I've already taken the point off. I'll double check later. 1, 2, 16, 48, and then down the mountains. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He goes into 1947. Oh no, he doesn't activate first. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 11th Guards actually activates first. I'm sorry. He goes to 1847 and then to 1947, and then this infantry doesn't need to be activated right now. He gets activated in a minute. So, so that would be 2, 3, 9. Guess I have to use the Guards tank army too. So that'd be 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Minus 2 would be plus 5 to 0. That's the best we're going to get. Okay. Going to check my national tracks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I should be down 10 from 44. Okay. And then we're going to activate the 5th Guards. And then the 3rd tank is actually going to make a move as well. He's going to go into Smolensk. And then a 2147, and then also everybody's going to assault the 9th Garrison. I only have 1 tanks marker left, so I'm going to go ahead and use it here. I'm not going to commit to heavy artillery at this point. So throwing the tanks on the Guards unit that I moved into 1947 will make him start off at a +1 because he's Guards, will make him the primary. +1 because he thinks he's a tank. I add another one for a Guards unit. That's helping. And then +2 more for the other Guards tank army. So you can only have 3 guys attacking. But then I also get +2 because he's now isolated. I managed to cut off all his retreat routes. So I'm at +7. +2 for this Guards, +1 for this, +1 for this. That's +5, and then +2 for isolation. Then I have to subtract 1 for the ground that he's in and 1 for the weather. So it's a +5 to a 0. +2 for German, -2 for being a garrison. +5 to 0 is 9. And at a 0, the best he can roll is a 6. And a 9 to a 6 would still be a DR, which he's not allowed to do, so he will die. He will be defeated and destroyed and moved to the eliminated box. But no willpower because he's not one of those kinds of units. Only real armies, the defending, that you lose cost willpower. And then we'll take it with the Guards unit, just because we can. That's something. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to get rid of that unit is just he's in the way, and he would slow me down on production point expenditures in fair weather, which is coming the next 3 turns. So this will get me to the front line of the Germans a little bit easier, less roadblocks. I'm trying to clear out the roadblocks as I can. I'm probably going to try and make a push for Kishinev. Use my last heavy artillery there, and then fill in the line, and I think I'm going to be done. So, I should start up the timer again. Yeah, it's running. Oh, heck. 1, 2, 3. I could have thrown the airplane in there. What's wrong with me? Well, I'll throw the airplane in on the Nor. It's probably more useful there. Because I'm going to be +1, +2, 3, +4, -2. It'll be a +2 to a +2 to see if I can get him to retreat. That's going to be the best I'm going to be able to do there. So let's go ahead and do that. There's 2 for the tank, 1 from the shock. Not very good odds here, people. Not very good odds at all. So that's another 3. We're assaulting the Nor. I will go ahead and throw in the airplane at this point. Because I can. One thing I do want to do is I want to make sure I know that this guy's in low supply for the Germans so that I don't try to replace that unit. So what am I at? If I start with the armor, I'm +1 because I'm armor. And +2 for a shock, and +1 for an airplane, then -1 for the swamp, -1 for the weather. So it's +2 to +2. Let's see if we can roll well. 5 + 2 is a 7. Well, it's something. And the Germans are all a 2. +2 is a 4. 7 to a 4 is a retreat. Yes, it is. So we force the Nor back a space. He's going to just go ahead and back up 1. Sitting on a rail line. I will take it with the... Ooh, boy, the shock of the armor. I think I'm going to take it with the shock because he only has 8 movement points. The armor has 10, so he can afford to spend an extra movement point to get on a rail line. So that worked out well. Don't have any tank markers left, so there's no reason to go after the Finn. I probably have a couple of infantry moves here. Well, I could take a +1, +2, +3, -1. I could take a +2 to a +3 on the Germans. But I think I really want to go ahead and try and do this first. God, I hate wasting the tanks army. Well, I have to activate them anyway. So I'm going to go 1, and 1, 2. I'm going to assault the Romanian before they get any extra markers back. So that's 2, 4 more. Down to 27, I think. Okay, and this is at horrible odds, which is why on the faction card I'm going to have to throw my last heavy artillery here. I'm +1 guards tank army's the primary. +1 because he's elite, +1 because he's a tank. Adding a tank and poor actually adds 2, and the heavy artillery adds 2. But and he's at 0. But I'm -1 for the river, -1 for the city, and -1 for the weather. So only a +3 to a +0. And we'll see what the Russians do. 6 + 3 is a 9. Yay, I will force him to retreat at least. Because even at a 6, it's a DR. And he rolled a 2. 2's not good for him at a 9. 2 is a DD. So the Romanians won't be able to replace him this turn because they spent both their points. And he has to retreat. I'm going to retreat him along the rail line. He had to flip and then force to retreat. This can go away. I will take it with the armored unit. And that also has the ability, the effect of giving me another Russian factory. So now I'm up to 10 factories. Is that right? Yeah, I can get 4 more. The one in Finland's one I probably won't be able to get. So yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. So the Romanians are hurting here. Fair weather, I might be able to blow in here and take them out. Okay, where's the turn track? Put the heavy artillery on 4 turns from now. I'll come back in October. So when the weather starts to turn, I'll get my heavy artillery and be able to possibly continue the offensive that way. I've got 27 left. 15 is what I need. 15 and 2. I need to keep myself at 17. So I can actually spend like 10 more. I don't think I have anybody else flipped. So I can keep myself at 17. I can do everything I want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Five, 6, 7. And then 1, 2, 3. It's a horrible attack. But what the heck? Right? So here's 2 and 4. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into 27, 44. And then it's 6, 7 for the hex has an enemy unit in, and then 8 just for the hex. And this guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they both assault the 4th Panzer. What the heck? We'll have the reduced third guards go down. So I start off at +1 because I'm elite. The guy in front of Kiev, 2844, is the primary. I get +1 for 2 buddies, then -1 for weather, and the Germans are +2 for being German and +1 for being armor. So I'm a +2 to a plus whatever. I think all my airplanes are. I can't even move any of them forward. So it's a +2 to a +3. And we'll see what we roll. Russians are all 3 + 2 is a 5. Germans can't be harmed. Even a 1 saves them. 2 + 3 is a 5. So 5 to 5 doesn't happen. So I need to take another 2 off for that one guy. So I have 4 production points left I can spend. I think I want to put this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to there. Protects my supply line of the 10th. So that's 2. Now I have 19 left. I need to save 17. Gotta remember that magic number, 17. So I'm going to count again and make sure I'm not off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 in the south. Then 17, 18, 19, 20 to go into the center. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 along the easternmost parts of the Duna. And I forgot what I was at. That 24, it was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And I started at 44. And I spent 29. 29? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 29 from 44. Anybody got a calculator handy? 29 to 44. Well, let's just start at 44 and take it down. So at 29 would put me at 9 would go here, right? Rolling that over, and then 20 more leave me at 15. So this guy isn't going to get flipped back up probably, because I want my airplanes up. Because I outnumber the Germans, I need to get my air up for the fair weather turn. So I spent 2 more than I should have, but I think it was worth it. Probably shouldn't have bothered with the attack on the Panzer and just had extra production points. But so that's going to be it. The Russians, looking to make sure I don't have anybody stranded here. This guy can go 1, 2 to Kiev. This guy can go 1, 2 to here, which is negated by the infantry or the mobile unit and down the rails. Everybody can get back to supply. It looks like everybody's in supply. So that's Soviet operations. Axis. I'm coming up near the end of my time limit normally for the Russian turn, so I'm going to run this a little long just to get the end of turn stuff in here. The Axis have replacements. They're going to do 3. They can't do that one. 6. 3, 6. 9. 12. 15. 10 and 15. That leaves them 4 points. They have 2 face-down guys, so I think they're just going to build their armor and flip their face up, their guys face up. So 1 here, and 1 here. That leaves me 2 to build an armor later, or 2 infantry. So then we go to the west. Supply phase, or replacements phase. We do to do the fun ones first. The Americans just... That's an American. 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 Up here, that's an American. That's an American. Here. More Americans over here. That's an American. And that's an American. I think that's all the American points. Right? Let me zoom out 1 level. A little bit easier to count this way. Yeah, oh, wait. Oh, no, this one here. This is the... that's the convoy, but the airplane... this is the one I was thinking of. This just goes away because it's American fleet. American fleets get to reorganize too, so... That's my 2 fleets in a carrier force. So I have to pay for the British. I don't like paying for the British. Why can't they have unlimited supplies? So that's 4. And then 6 more for those 2 aircraft. Puts me down to 19. And then 3 and 6 more. Down to 13. And I know I'm going to spend 9 down here. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up because I'm in the middle of this. Stopping this for 5 more minutes. It seems silly. So I have 13 there, and then I'm going to do 9 here in the med. So 3. And these 2 are 6. That's 9 more. So that leaves me with 4. And with 4, I have, I think I have a fleet up here still that's... One of these guys is a fleet that can... Is it this one? Yeah, that's the med fleet. Right, so we'll clear him out too. And that's my 4, because the British don't have anything to build. And the Russians have 15. They're not going to flip up their guy. They're going to go ahead and take their airplanes down. Anyway, just the jumpy thing. I'll just go over there that way. So they do have enough to do all 5 airplanes this time. Unlike last turn, when I tried to cheat. The airplanes are a little behind the lines here, but with fair weather, they should be able to do their things. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't take this guy out when I had the chance when he was in Kiev. Because when he was at low supply, you would have done a no supply phase. I said there was nothing to do at the no supply phase. I was wrong. There was something to do in the Axis low supply phase. I went blowing right by it because invariably we never have anything to do. The Germans are actually going to remove this airplane because they'll get it back faster with 2 sorties on it and be able to place it where they feel it's most likely. So they're going to, because it was in, it's an aircraft, you're allowed to just remove it to your faction card. It just goes into your eliminated box. So at the end of the turn, it'll move into my mobilization. And then next turn, I'll be able to build it if I have the points and put it down wherever I need it to be. And I can even put off building it until I think I really need it. It was going to do nothing in July here because it would have just been in supply with 6 sorties. And if he pushes through here and pushes me off again or surrounds it and puts it out of supply, I end up with the same perpetual problem. It's just faster to do it this way, at least in my opinion. Others will play it differently. So I forgot to do that in the Axis no supply phase. Now I'm already through the replacements phase for everybody. So we go to upgrades. I don't think anybody has any upgrades on this track. Nope. So there's no upgrades. Mobilization phase for the Axis. They have 2 points left. And the Hungarians have 1. The Hungarians build 1. The Germans build 2. The question is do you build 2 infantry, putting 1 on each front, or do you build 1 armor? I don't really have any armor at all in the north here, and I do have infantry that will probably be able to withdraw. So I think I'm actually going to build my armor unit and build the infantry next turn. And I'm going to put it in Königsberg. And that's probably wrong too, but and no one else has any production that they can do. Nobody has any mobilization. Nothing in their mobilization boxes, so. And they don't have 20 points to build surprise attack markers, so. And nobody's talking because we're all fighting. I haven't conquered Germany yet. And it's the end of turn phase. So keep this card up. And we're going to get a bunch of stuff back. The Germans get their jets, their tanks, and their submarines. And the Russians get a tank, another tank, and the British get their tank, and the Russians get their tank. And then, the Russians get a partisan. That's going to help in the clear weather turns. Ooh, they picked up a heavy artillery, so they'll have something to use if they need it. They come up with against something they need to assault. And the West gets a free forces marker. And we move this to July. So, yay. Yeah. And that looks to be the Soviet and end of turn phases. Soviet operations and end of turn phases. We will start with July 1944 in the next set of videos. I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And hopefully when I go through editing, I will not find any huge mistakes. And we'll be able to proceed on to July. Until then, bye-bye.